Hello, welcome back to Twiggy and Happy New Year. I thought, as I hadn't done a fireside sit-down chat type of video for a while, now would be a good time to do one. The start of a new year, looking ahead to all sorts of plans and what's coming up here on the channel and what I've got in store for myself. So, as I do tend to waffle on these things, I suspect this is another of those videos where a full pot of tea and complete pack of biscuits may be needed at your end to get yourself through it. And when you're sitting comfortably, I will begin. First of all, as I say, Happy New Year. Hope you've got all sorts of good stuff planned for 2024. I have quite a lot on my plate. Quite clearly, this is Twiggy. I put the tour video up a couple of weeks before Christmas, and as you will have seen, there's an awful lot to do. It is an old boat, but even though the list of things to do is quite long, and I had a fair few people in the comments saying, "What have you bought that boat for? It's a disaster, sell it quick, blah, blah, blah." Actually, most of it is cosmetic. It's fairly straightforward to do an awful lot of the things on the list. There are a couple of bigger jobs, to be fair, including one I didn't mention in the tour. Shall I tell you now? I suppose so. I'm probably going to have to rebuild the transom, the back of the boat, because there's a nasty crack in it. You see, this is what happens when you buy a boat excitedly instead of with your logical head on. When you go and see a boat and you go, "Oh, I like it, I'll have it." And then when you peer around it later, you think, "Oh, actually it's got some issues I need to deal with." But, as I say, mostly cosmetic, like the carpeting and the sink and the water pump and the batteries. All that stuff is straightforward. There's a lot to do. It's straightforward. The only significant issue, I think, is dealing with that little water leak at the back, which may or may not be coming through the transom, or may or may not be coming through that well thing where the water splashes in. I haven't quite determined that yet. But I suspect either way that I'm probably going to rebuild the transom anyway, because it's a 48-year-old boat. It looks like it may have been done once before. It's just a little bit, how can I describe it? If you run your hand over the back of the boat, it doesn't quite feel smooth or as new. I think someone's had a go at it before, and I suspect it will be soft wood in there. So I need to cut it out, put new plywood in, re-fiberglass the whole thing, and make sure it's all solid enough to take whatever motor I end up putting on the back of it. Quite obviously, Twiggy is going to come out of water for this. It's going to stay in the water over winter, I think, and then in the spring I need to go and get a trailer. I need to get a tow bar put on the van, and I will tow the boat to a convenient location that isn't quite established yet, but I'm hoping to find one. I haven't got space at home for it. And then with it out of water, obviously, I can do all sorts of bit of work on it from the inside, outside, take the motor off, have a proper go at that transom, so on and so forth. I will mention now, because I am an official ambassador for it, the Boat Life show in February at the NEC. And I mention that because there will be at least a couple, I think, of people selling trailers there. So I'm going to have a good look round the Boat Life show for a trailer. I know nothing about trailers. I don't know anything about how they're rated or whatever. I know what the towing capacity of my van is. I don't know anything about trailers. So I'm going to have a really good chat to people selling trailers, because there were some last year. It's the third year the Boat Life show has run, and certainly there were some trailer people last year. I'm going to go and have a chat to them, and also a chat to various outboard motor people about what would be ideal and how much a electric start motor costs for a start, because all that hand cranking that one, it's fairly easy to start, but I would rather have electric. So there's all sorts of things I can go and see at Boat Life. As I say, I am an ambassador, so I am paid to promote it, but I have no hesitation in telling you about it, because I quite enjoy the show. Went to the very first one 2 years ago, a small little affair then, got much bigger last year. It takes up 2 halls of the NEC, and certainly, again, last year they had, I think I'm right in saying, 13 narrowboats in the halls that you could walk around. A couple of them were hire boats, and the rest were manufacturers' new builds. So if you are thinking of getting a narrowboat built, it is an excellent opportunity, because it's not one of those shows where you have to pre-book and they only let you in if you're wearing the right sort of clothes. It's a very casual, chatty, relaxed, easygoing kind of show where you have time to talk to the people on the stands, whether it is a narrowboat builder or a brokerage if you're looking to buy second-hand, or a marina or a chandlery. They have a dedicated inland waterways section. For the whole show it's about boats generally, but they do dedicate a section of it to the inland waterways, which, as I say, last year had a load of narrowboats on display. They had chandleries, they had brokers. So whatever aspect of narrowboating or canal boating or even river boating you're thinking of, you can go there and have a proper chat. And it's not like you only get 2 seconds with people. You can have a proper little chinwag with the people who are exhibiting there and really find out lots of useful information. I have a discount code, by the way, for tickets. Of course I do. It's Cruising the Cut. So if you use the link in the video description, you can get a discount on the tickets. I will also mention, actually, it's a slight coincidence, I think, but on at the same time, or overlapping times at the NEC, there is a caravan and motorhome show, which you may have tickets to anyway, because it's quite a big event that happens there every year. And what Boat Life have decided is that if you come along, if you've already got a ticket to that motorhoming show, if you come along to Boat Life in the afternoon and wave your caravanning ticket at them, they will give you discounted entry into the Boat Life shows. You can either just buy a ticket for Boat Life now using my discount code and link in the description, or if you've already got a ticket to the camping show, come along to Boat Life in the afternoon and they will let you in at a discount. I think the caravanning show starts a couple of days earlier than Boat Life. Boat Life runs from the Thursday to the Sunday. But as I say, it's a very easygoing show, very casual. They had a pub there last year, sort of specially built an inland waterways style pub where you can meet friends and chat with people. It's very easy to get to. It's at the NEC. I will be giving a talk on one of the days. I'm not quite sure which day yet, but I will find out, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be talking about, other than obviously the canals and inland waterways. I'll pop something up on Twitter, I refuse to call it X, when I know which day I'm doing. So if you want to come along, say hello. It would be marvellous to see you. I am going to be there not just because I'm an ambassador for the show, but because I want to find a trailer for Twiggy. I want to find or investigate options for a new outboard. I've had a lot of people saying go electric, and I love the idea of electric because going up the canals in silence will be wonderful. The problem is range, and people say, oh, stick a solar panel on, you'll have all the range you need. Solar is not that good. Certainly in Britain, and certainly on this boat, there really isn't the space for much solar. There's the one panel just up there above the hatch, and that's about the only space, and that's not even a great place for a solar panel, although various people have said put one out the back over the motor. But the trouble with that is you might end up ramming it into the back of the lock gates if the boat crashes about a bit in a lock. So I'm not overly keen on popping solar panels out of the back. So really above the hatch is the only space. So it wouldn't really be able to charge an electric motor enough for it to be usable for propulsion. So I'd have to have a massive battery bank to get anywhere. I just don't think it's going to be feasible at the moment. So I'm more than likely still going to have a conventional outboard motor on the back, only 10 horsepower or something. It only needs to go up the canals, maybe a bit of river every now and again. But electric start, that would certainly make my life a lot easier. And obviously when I put the new motor on the rebuilt transom, I'll have a new control stick thingy, what do you call it? Control stick thingy will do, and hopefully that will be easier to use. And I have taken everyone's comments on board about needing a differently pitched propeller with 4 blades so that the engine revs higher, so that I can get more precise control over it at low speeds. That certainly sounds like what I need, because coming down towards Stourport in that previous trip, it was either on or off. It really was very tricky, and also being a very light boat. Well, by the time I've got batteries and water tank and all the other bits I want to do here in Twiggy, the boat is going to be sitting a little lower in the water, that is for sure. And the upshot of that is, of course, that over the course of 2024, there will be many, many DIY videos. I know some people are saying, hooray, he's got a boat, let's have some cruising videos. Well, hold your horses, there certainly will be, or at least that's the plan, but I have got to get Twiggy in a suitable state to do that first, and that means doing all the DIY, certainly most of the DIY has got to be done first. And whilst I can do some of that over winter, things like, for example, ripping off all this carpet and putting new carpeting on, that requires adhesives. Adhesives don't like cold temperatures, so winter is not the best time to do it. So some of the DIY is going to have to wait till at least the spring, and then the boat will come out of the water in spring onto a trailer and put somewhere, and I'll do all the rebuilding work. If I get my act together, it is conceivable that, if I really pulled my finger out, I could get the boat back in the water for summer and off on some adventures. Being, however, inherently, entrenchedly lazy, that may not happen, and it may go on for a bit longer. But I did manage to do my camper van in 6 months, and part of that was in winter, so maybe the boat will be transformed quicker than I think. I do not know. It's just going to be a case of see how I get on. But if you are a fan of the DIY videos, there's going to be a lot of them. I tell you, from taking out the carpet, from redoing the plumbing arrangement, to the electrics and the battery and the solar, repainting, obviously sorting out the the gel coat. And I've had various people saying, don't try and match the gel coat because it will have faded, and yes, you can take it to a paint specialist. Just sand the thing down and repaint it all. And actually, that's possibly going to have to be the solution, although I am going to keep the yellow. I know there were some people saying, you can't keep that yellow. I like the yellow, so the yellow is going to stay. It may have to be a different yellow, but it's still going to be yellow on top, that is for sure. So that is Twiggy. A lot of DIY, and then hopefully some adventures later on. What else have we got coming up? I am still going to be doing, in between the DIY videos, videos about aspects of the canals, as I have been doing for the past 3 years. There are various things about the canals that I find interesting on different topics, and I will still want to go and make those. For example, I've been in touch with the Canal and River Trust over a couple of projects they've got going on over winter, which one of which is they are draining the Pontcysyllte aqueduct so that they can inspect it. And I thought, well, that will be quite a sight to see. And I've been in touch with them and said, can I come and have a look at you doing that? Likewise, I was going to go and do something with them about the lift bridges on the South Oxford Canal. This has already been shown on, I think, BBC South News. Anyway, I thought I'd go along and do something on that, so I'm chasing that up. But hopefully those kind of things, the kind of videos I've been doing for the last few years about different canal-y things, I also intend to keep on making in between doing the bits of Twiggy. And off canals but staying on boats, you may recall how I've done a couple of videos on Surinder, the channel Ship Happens, that World War II craft that is being restored. I've got another couple that are interesting boats that are not really canal-y, but I think they're very interesting. One, a chap got in touch with me through Instagram, and he's buying a steam tugboat that looks in a bit of a state, but he is pretty confident that he and his friend can restore it. Now, it's got nothing to do with canals, but it looks really, really interesting. And that is the ethos for all my videos. It's go and make videos about things that I find interesting. It's no use me taking on board occasional comments from viewers saying, I didn't like this. I can't change my channel just because one or two viewers say I didn't like this, because then there'll be other viewers who say, well, I did like that, and they don't like whatever I changed to. So the strategy for me is, and always has been, do stuff that I think is interesting, pop it up, and hope that you find it interesting as well. And I really do think this steam tugboat thing, I've only seen pictures of it so far, but I think that is going to be a fascinating project. I'll go and, when they've actually got it all sorted, I'll go and do an initial video, and then obviously go back over the months, years, who knows how long it'll take, and do a catch up with them, because that's good. And then there's a chap whose name I forget, sorry, but you know who you are, up on, I think he's up on the Leeds and Liverpool, somewhere up north, and he's got this little boat. It's not a canal boat, but it will go on the canals, and he's rebuilt this. This is actually completed and finished, I think, pretty much, and it's just a work of art. It's a beautiful thing, and I want to go and see that and chug around on the canals. So those are just some examples of things I have coming up, and frankly, any other interesting offers that come my way, you can always get in touch with me through Instagram or on Twitter, or drop a comment in the video or any of the videos and say, "Hi, I've got this project. Are you interested?" What was it someone messaged me about the other day? No, it's completely gone. I'm getting old. I can't remember things without making notes about them these days. But there was another thing that someone just dropped in the comments on a video, and I said, oh, that does sound interesting. Send me an email. Here's the address. And, these offers come in, and some of them work out, some of them don't. So if you've got something interesting going on, you think, oh, that would make an interesting video, drop me a line. I won't necessarily be able to come along, but I'd certainly like to hear from you. And that really, at the moment, is the way that 2024 pans out. A lot of DIY, hopefully some cruising on Twiggy by summer, maybe. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. As well as a smattering of videos on other canal topics. And I think, really, that is about all I can update you with. You know, maybe that wasn't even a full pot of tea. That may have been just 1 cup and half a packet of biscuits, so you perhaps got away lightly. Just a quick reminder about the Boat Life show. I'm not going to bang on about it, but I'm going to be there, and if you want to come along, it'd be nice to say hello. When I was on my cruise, did I mention the cruise? I went on a cruise holiday. I put it up on Twitter, and in fact, that'll be the next video after this one, won't it? Yes, I've slightly forgotten where I am at the moment, but I went on a cruise, my first ever cruise ship holiday, on P&O Azura around the Canary Islands, and also popped over to Madeira. Much to my great surprise, I really enjoyed it. I wasn't at all sure. I thought maybe I'll be seasick, maybe it'll be horrible. I had a really good time. And I kind of filmed a little bit ad hoc, and I'm going to compile some sort of video on that. I'll probably put that out next, I think. And it'll just be a one-off. I'm not turning the channel into a cruise ship cruising channel, but I thought it might be interesting, and I did run it past my patrons and said, would this be of interest? And they said, yes, we'd like to see that. So there's going to be a video about that cruise ship. So yeah, that's about it. And I hope you will stay tuned and continue to throw in your suggestions, good, bad, ugly, and whatever. Have a happy 2024. Use the link in the video description I knew where I was going with the cruise. I just realised where I was going with that. Yeah, the point was, while I was on the cruise, I knew there was a point, I got recognised. To my great surprise, I did not think anyone on a cruise ship would come up, but 5 people over the course of the week came up and said, hey, aren't you that bloke who does canal videos on YouTube? And yeah, I am. So you know who you are. I've had a couple of comments on them on the videos already. So hello again. Lovely to meet you. Thank you for saying hello. And the point of that was, if you want to come up and say hello at the Boat Life show, delighted to say, as long as you're nice, obviously, and I'm sure you will be, delighted to say hello to you, even pose for selfies if you like, and all that sort of stuff. Look at me with my big head. So there we go. That's from the 15th to the 18th of February, Boat Life, link in the description. Have a great 2024. Enjoy the rest of your cup of tea, and I will see you soon. Cheerio. No, hang on. Just before I actually go, there was one other thing to tell you, and that is I have started a monthly Cruising the Cut newsletter. There have been 3 editions so far. I tested it out on my patrons, who seemed to give it a reasonable reception and made some suggestions. So if you'd like to sign up to the newsletter, I've put a link in the video description below. What you do is you go to that link, you type in your email address and say, subscribe me. It then sends you an email to say, now, did you really mean that? Because otherwise you could type in anyone's email address. So it sends an email to the address that was typed in and says, are you the person who actually said, can you subscribe me? Now, you click on a link in that email to say, yes, it really was me. I'd like to subscribe. And then you are confirmed and subscribed. And every time a newsletter comes out after that, which I'm trying to do at the end of the month, you should receive it. I don't think at the moment when you subscribe, you automatically get sent the current edition of the newsletter. I'm not sure if the software does that, but I have put up an archive of the prior editions so far as well, and I'll leave a link to that in the video description. So it's a little bit of a chitty chat newsletter at the end of the month about things I've been working on, the most recent videos, things I've spotted about boats and stuff on social media that might be of interest, other YouTube channels that I like that may or may not be about boats that you might like, and general news and stuff about canals. Give it a go. You can always click unsubscribe. There's an unsubscribe link at the bottom of each one. So if you fancy a bit of that, just something to read in your inbox at the end of the month, link in the video description to sign up to that. Now that really was everything, I think. So, adios.